All right, we are live. It is the Andre Duke Show, back with Carter Smith. He is enveloped in this Kentucky game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You're gonna have to excuse me. I got split attention right now, but it's fine. It's first round. We'll be okay.
yeah, so uh, outside of that, Carter, how's everything going, man?
Good, man. Good. How's your week going so far?
Oh, it's going good. Can't complain. Back on nights, so it is what it is. We'll work through it. The big
Yeah.
news.
That's an adjustment, right?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, for
big
sure.
news big news so far. Let me get up my notes. Before we hop all over the tournament, is Jeremiah Smith got his
Yep.
black stripe removed today.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense, man. Right? Like you look at the dude and you just know he's a freak. He's just a freak show. Um, if I had to take bets, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's tough. I don't know if he would have been my first choice, just because I know there's some dudes that transferred in that are, have experience, and you know, I would have, I would have probably guessed Caleb Downs would be the first to get his black stripe removed, right? But
Yes.
Jeremiah Smith came in, and you just see the clips of him, and you see him looking, and I mean, that dude looks like somebody that's been in the program for 3 years and is about to enter the NFL draft, if not already in the NFL, right? Like, I mean, he looks like DK Metcalf as a freshman.
Yes, that was something your brother brought up a couple days ago on Menace to Sports. He said that I believe they showed a picture of Marv and him side
Yeah.
by side,
Oh, it's
and
ridiculous.
you couldn't tell. Um,
No,
outside of that,
I think they showed a picture of DK his freshman year, or at least when he was entering Ole Miss, either when he was entering or after his freshman year, whatever. He had an Ole Miss like workout shirt on, side by side with Jeremiah, and dude, he made DK look like a fucking midget. Like he made him look like that dude hadn't hit a weight yet, and he's coming in here at 17 years old, looking like that. Like let Mickey Marotti just get after him for a year, and I think Jeremiah will play a role this year. But when he leaves Ohio State, that's gonna be, I mean, that's a different dude. Like he's built different, and from everything that I've heard about him and everything that people have said, people from South Florida, is like he's different, and they've seen some crazy talent come out of South Florida, right? And they say he's different. So you Ohio State got a real one in him, I think.
and with the Jeremiah Smith stuff, since we're on the Ohio State stuff at the moment, um, there was a coaching move that was made that we didn't talk about. It's a little old, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, we missed it last week. We got rolling and didn't know about it. And obviously Tony Alford said deuces to the Ohio State program, and he went up to the team up north. Um, I think it's a loss. Honestly, I think it's a bigger loss than people want to admit. Obviously, Ohio State fans, which I consider myself an Ohio State fan, but Ohio State fans obviously have their fan glasses on, right? Like, oh, Tony wasn't shit, man. It's not a big loss. Like, he couldn't recruit, he couldn't do this, he didn't develop, whatever. That's revisionist history at this point, because they're upset that and I think Ryan even said it, man. Like, Ryan was okay with him leaving, but like not there, right? Like anybody but Michigan. And it came down to, man, he wanted job security and he wanted his money. And so he got both at Michigan. And he was only going to get one of those at Ohio State. And he had already been basically shown the door when they cut his pay. They didn't give him a multi-year contract. They didn't, do anything to make him feel like he was valued at Ohio State. So I'm not here to shit on Tony. I've met Tony a couple times. I like the dude. I hate that it's Michigan, obviously. Like, that's the last place I would have wanted him to go. I do believe that he had an opportunity to go to Notre Dame, but it didn't pan out, and I would have much rather him gone to Notre Dame, obviously, but that didn't work out.
I guess where I stand on it is when it comes to Tony leaving, it depends upon how you look at it. And there's other podcasts out there that taking some shots as he's going out of the door, regardless whether you like the guy or don't like the guy. He was one of the most tenured coaches at Ohio State, and he hung around. And I think the multi-year deal was a sticking point with him. But also when it comes to that sticking point, you had Corey Dennis got an extension, Parker Fleming got an extension, and then them two guys both got shown the door as well. So I don't think that it's 100% Tony's fault or 100% Ryan's fault, because I think in Ryan's tenure, this is the biggest year for him.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, this is make or break time. And so if he thinks, obviously, he showed it by not giving Tony an extension, not offering him a multi-year deal, all that stuff. He showed that, like, hey, if you want to work this year out and see how it goes, I'll let you. But Ryan didn't give him any validation that he wanted him there, right? Like he could have done that, but he didn't. So he obviously wasn't too concerned if Tony left or not, right? And which is fine. I mean, if Tony or if Ryan feels that Tony wasn't up to par, which the running backs, I think, played fine. I think they played well most of the time under Tony. I think that there was some injury issues and underperformances at times, but I mean, and you can point at that and say, listen, we're trying to have the best staff in America. If your group underperformed ever, then you're not the best in America. And that's fine. I don't, okay. Well, then you better go get a fucking dude. And it's taken a little longer than I expected. And they aren't getting a dude. I mean, like DeMarco Murray's not coming. The guy from Alabama, whatever, I forget his name right now, but he's not coming. So I don't know what you're going to be left with. And there's no way Ryan can do what he needs to do this year and be the running backs coach.
And I've heard two sides of the argument on the running backs coach or the a tight ends coach, that, it's not that in depth of a position. You could probably go out and get somebody. I know Stan Drayton's been tossed around.
Yeah. It would be his second or third stint at Ohio State. And he's also a head coach right now. So if he is done with head coaching like Chip Kelly, at least at the college level, then sure, maybe he leaves as the head coach and comes here. I've met Stan a couple times. He was at Florida when my brother was down there, and I met him there. And then he got hired up here by Jim Tressel. He's a great coach. That wouldn't be a huge downgrade or anything like that. But I just don't know if that's what Stan wants, And so there's some other running back coaches across the country that I think are good coaches that could do it. It's just you're going to have to I think Ryan's big swing was going to be either the Alabama running back coach or DeMarco Murray. And I think he swung on both and missed. And so now he's kind of reeling and figuring out what else is out there. I mean, there's still plenty of quality running back coaches out there that he can get. But let's not act like Tony Alford wasn't one of the best running back coaches in America too.
And with all of that being said, I think it's interesting that, all the guys that were on Ryan Day's list have all now gotten contract extensions and raises.
And pay raises, yeah.
So
because they took the call because they were gonna, they were weighing their options, and Oklahoma, I know this for a fact. Oklahoma looked at it and said, "All right, we'll bump your pay. We'll extend your contract. We'll give you what they're giving you," and had Ryan been able to or wanted to give him more money than Oklahoma could, then maybe DeMarco Murray comes here. But he didn't do that. So I think it's a kind of like a lens into the running back position, right? It's not valued in the NFL anymore. It's not being valued at, I mean, what Heartline's making, what, 1.5?
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about giving a running backs coach 800, 900, maybe 900,000, but I don't even think it's that much. So it just tells you how running backs are in football right now. Like, they aren't valued as much as wide receivers. They aren't valued as much as quarterbacks or anybody like that. And so running back coaches, you're talking about negotiating over a couple $1,000s. In Oklahoma, they don't have the money Ohio State does, but they got a ton of money too. So if DeMarco Murray's making $700K and Ohio State offered him 800, they're like, oh, what's $100,000 between friends, right? Like, I'll go ahead and throw that down.
And with that being said, I want to compare it to another situation. It would be like if PJ Fleck, hide your dogs, came in and wanted to hire Laurinaitis and give him a contract extension and a $100,000 raise because DeMarco Murray is an alum of OU.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would be the same. It would be the same shoe on a different foot.
Yeah, it would be the same thing in a couple years after James Laurinaitis has shown that he can coach football. Because DeMarco's coached running backs for a couple years now, and he's I don't know if he's shown that he's a great coach necessarily, but he's been a good coach, and he's definitely been, top whatever in the nation. And so he's shown that he can do the job. James hasn't shown that yet, but I think James will be fine at it. But it also, circling back to the topic, the start, it also shows you how Tony, because Tony didn't get this offer from Michigan and then just take it and not tell Ryan the offer, right? So if Tony got similar to DeMarco, where he went and interviewed with Ryan Day and came back to Oklahoma, was like, hey, they're offering me 3 years, $800,000. Let's say that's what it was. I don't know that's what it was, but let's say that's what it was. Then Oklahoma goes, all right, we'll match it. And he goes, okay, cool, I'll stay. Well, Tony could have done the same thing. Went to Michigan, interviewed, said, hey, they're offering me 3 years, $800,000. And Ryan said, all right, cool, man. Or you can stay here for a year and prove you're worth it. And so Tony left. So, I mean, it's just, and the running back room. And here's what's kind of funny about the whole situation is everybody has this narrative out here that Tony couldn't recruit, right? And Tony missed on some guys, but some of those guys didn't pan out either. But Tony missed on some guys, and all this. But then less than a week after he leaves for Michigan, Ryan Day's at the podium saying, man, it's been nice to get back in there, coach a group, and I have no doubt in my mind we have the best running back room in America. And it's like, bro, if you have the best running back room in America, but Tony couldn't recruit, how's that possible?
Yeah.
And it's like that. It just doesn't match. So it's fine. I think the running back room is going to be fine no matter who's coaching it. I think they'll go out and they'll get somebody that's a little younger, maybe a little more up and coming, and he might turn out to be a great coach, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I just think that the Ohio State Twitter / fan base is, they always talk about Bama or Florida about people overreacting. I think Ohio State Twitter is in the same universe.
They overreact every time anything happens. I mean, every fan base does, though. That's why they're called fans, right? It stands for fanatics, and they're fanatical about their team. And I get that. I mean, I'm the same way. It's no big deal. I have Kentucky winning the goddamn national championship. And I mean, there's a chance, but
it's not. There's a little, the air's tight in that room. I'm going to go out on a limb and say,
yeah.
But there's always two halves to a game. But outside of that, I think that closes out the Ohio State stuff. I think it's been pretty quiet, other than there's been just reports about Jeremiah Smith, doing real well in spring practice.
Yeah, and he has, and that's awesome.
And so I guess we will move on to the NCAA tournament. We've got
day one, baby.
Yeah, day one. A lot of people were shocked to see Duquesne take out the Fighting Mormons in BYU.
I don't know why though. Like I gotta admit, I'll admit it on stream, but I was rooting for Duquesne the whole time. I had in my mind I took Duquesne because I didn't do a lot of research on teams. Like I don't watch college basketball religiously. I know about Kentucky. I watch them. I watch a little Ohio State because I'm in the market, and like I'll watch conference tourneys, stuff like that. Like I'll watch a little bit, but I don't claim to be an expert. I don't follow it closely, but I did see a little bit about Duquesne before the tournament, and I had in my head, I don't know why I did this, but in my head, I was like, I think Duquesne's going to definitely win that game. And then my thumb didn't click Duquesne for some reason. And I picked BYU, and the whole game, I'm watching it, and I'm like, damn, all right, let's go. Duquesne's going to do this. All right. And then I was talking to my nephew after he got back from school, and I was like, yeah, bro, how about Duquesne? Da, da, da. And he's like, yeah. And then I went to check my bracket because I'm in a bracket with him and like a bunch of my family members. And I was like, wait, why do I not have as many points as I think I should? And I looked and I picked BYU. And I was like, what am I doing, man? I knew that was going to happen. At least I thought that was going to happen. But I've been wrong so many times already, and there's like 6 games that are done. Like, it's March Madness, bro. This stuff is wild.
Yeah, I'm just checking it out here. The another big story is how about that epic collapse by Nevada today?
Yeah, dude. What, they were down 17, Dayton was down 17, and they went on like a 17-0 run and came back 20-2 run. Oh man, bro, that's never bet against Dayton in early March. Now, once they get to if they make the Sweet 16, then you can probably bet against them. But right now, this is Dayton's time, man. And Dayton is I don't know if this is a hot take. Dayton's the best program in Ohio.
Right now, yes, but I reported yesterday a recruit. Actually, before we go there, we got a question by number 11. Okay. Can you see that up on the screen?
Yeah. Bro. I don't know. Let me check my bracket. I don't know where I put Purdue. Will they make it past the second round? No, I don't think they will, actually. I'll pull it up right now. I forget who they play. But no, absolutely not. Zach Edey is the biggest fraud. Like, I don't know how that guy continues to win like players of the year and shit like that. Like, he's to win player of the year and then come back is wild. Like, he was the national player of the year and then didn't go to the NBA because the NBA was like, yeah, we're good.
Okay, I've heard your brother break him down before.
Yeah.
And I think we're all in the same opinion. That guy is not an athlete. He's just really tall.
Yeah, he's just a big dude, which is cool. Like, hey, he got free school out of it, a good education at Purdue. I mean, good for him. He's going to be fine. Probably made some good NIL money. Like, nothing wrong with that. But dude is not going to have an NBA career.
Yeah, I think the dude's, I don't see his game translating at all.
No, what game? Like, what game is there, dude? He doesn't like do anything. He just stands there and like a big fucking tree. Like, yeah, you're big as shit. I get it. You know who else is big as shit? Wembanyama. But that dude can fucking move.
Oh yeah.
Unranked teams, yeah.
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 I wouldn't be shocked if they lose in the first round.
There's no way they're doing that 2 years in a row, though. All right, like I get it, but dude, if they would be the first 1 seed to lose back to back to 16s, and like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but in my mind, they got to get out of the first round. Like, if they don't get out of the first round, I honestly consider firing the coach.
Whoa, that's a controversial topic. That's very divisive amongst Purdue fans when it comes to Matt Painter. That is very divisive.
I get it. He's a good coach. Obviously, he gets them to a 1 seed the past 2 years and whatever. But like, bro, if you're losing to 16 seeds every year, right? Exactly. I just can't. I just can't. And I do have him going past the second round this year. I have him in the Sweet 16 just because I think there's no way that they could be that good all year and then fumble the bag again. Like, I just think that they'll make it, but I don't have them going past the Sweet 16. They're done after that.
Oh, I think TCU will win that game against Utah State, and I think TCU and Jamie Dixon, they'll get it done against Purdue.
Well, I'm done taking advice from you. All right.
What?
I took Long Beach State today.
It was looking good in the first half. They kind of fell apart. All right.
They went on a 13-2 run, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, that's why I took them. And then, nope.
Well, there's been greater tragedies.
For sure.
My other one is McNeese State they're getting beat right now. They're
gonna get handled. They're gonna get handled. Gonzaga, you're betting against Gonzaga? Like those, I don't care what they do during the regular season. Somehow in March they make a Sweet 16.
Yeah.
That's just like Michigan State. I don't care what they do, and I didn't pick them. I was a dumbass. I don't care what they do during the regular season, but they're gonna win. Like Izzo hasn't lost a round of 64 game in like 27 million years. Like, it just doesn't happen.
I think, looking forward, that's going to be an interesting matchup with UNC.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Michigan State. That's going to be a game.
So I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think he said it, but my brother has UNC winning it all. I am the biggest Michigan State fan ever on Saturday.
What? Why would you let that guy near a bracket? He doesn't know anything about basketball.
No, that's fine. It's our family little pool. Like, I don't know shit. I just follow Kentucky. But
has he ever won that?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. He probably did at one point, but I mean, it's March Madness, bro. You can luck into winning that. Like, my sister, this is the best part. My sister, who might end up winning the whole thing, doesn't follow. She's a Michigan State fan because her husband is. She doesn't follow college basketball at all. She did her entire bracket judging the mascots and deciding which mascot would win in a fight. So, like, Kentucky versus Oakland, right? Wildcats versus the Bears. She's like, bro, Bears are going to fuck a Wildcat up. So she took Oakland.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes,
Hopefully that pans out for McNeese State, the Cowboys versus the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Yeah. She probably took the Cowboys, I would think. But she also has Duke winning it all because, like, I don't know, a devil just feels like it should beat everything unless you have somebody named the gods.
Yeah. Also, since the last time we talked back on, we'll stay in college basketball. Jake Diebler hired as head coach of the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I'm indifferent to it. I think he did enough to show you that he could build a culture and get obviously the players bought it immediately. He went 8-2 or something in his games. Like, obviously that team was on the verge of not even being an NIT team, and they almost made the tournament. He turned it around. Now, I've said this about college football coaches at Ohio State. I don't love somebody cutting their teeth as a first-time coach, either position coach or head coach, at a program like Ohio State. And I think basketball is a little different than Ohio State football, obviously. But Ohio State basketball should be at a level where they're getting guys that are proven head coaches that have proven they can succeed, and Jake Diebler hasn't proven that over an entire season, right? But I don't hate the hire. I think you get a guy who's a young guy who's got Ohio roots, who can hopefully recruit the state of Ohio, because that's something they haven't done very successful, and hopefully build a program that has a culture that Chris Holtmann was supposed to build, right? But so I'm 50-50 on it.
And with that being said, they got the Colin White kid. I don't know where he went to high school. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
But I seen an interesting stat. He's committed to Ohio State. In the OSHA's history, there's only been one player that has taken his team to the state finals.
Okay.
All 4 years. Do you know who that player is?
I don't. I'm guessing it's Chris.
It is LeBron James.
Oh, yeah, for sure, obviously.
And then the other one to do it is Colin White.
Oh, yeah, Colin. Sorry, I said Chris. But yeah, I mean, I should have known LeBron did, obviously. I watched him play in high school. I went to the Ohio what is it? I forget where they played it, but down here in Columbus, I watched him play against Brookhaven or something that's from Columbus, and it was insane. Like, it's like that dude was different. So but that's a huge testament. Like, if Colin White was able to do that 4 years in a row, and I'm assuming because he's a big name recruit, he was the featured guy all 4 years. So that doesn't shock me.
And yesterday he got named Ohio Mr. Basketball as well. So
okay.
Diebler, I think's got him a good one coming in there. So
I mean, it's gonna be the same thing as Thad. I don't think Holtmann ever really got the level of recruit that Thad Matta did. Like, Thad Matta had some classes there, and now it's going to be, what can you do with it, right? And so hopefully for Diebler, he's a good enough coach that he can do it.
Yeah, because during the Thad years, which Thad played a part in getting Mike Davis fired, is because he came into Indianapolis and stole Conley and Oden.
Yeah, I mean, he got a good one there, and then he got D'Angelo Russell and Evan Turner. I mean, he had some classes, and he had it cooking. And then I don't know if it was health stuff or what, but he really fell off the rails. Obviously, that's why they moved on from him, brought Holtmann in. Holtmann was successful with Thad's players.
Yes.
Right. I mean, successful. I don't think successful to an Ohio State level. Because he never made it out of the first weekend of the tournament at Ohio State, right? And for me, you don't have to be a Sweet 16 team every year at Ohio State, but you got to get there every 3 years or so, at least.
Yeah, the second weekend.
Yeah,
bare minimum.
If you can't get out of the first weekend, I'm done with you. It's over. It's Jover, as they say.
Yeah, it's Jover. Moving and a grooving.
Yep.
But yeah, I look at everything that's going on with Ohio State basketball, and I feel that it's trending in the right direction, better than it has under Holtmann at any time. So I think that is Ohio State basketball is trending up, and we'll pivot back to the tournament, and we got Iowa State is up 10 now. Kentucky is down by 5. McNeese State is getting dog walked. They're down by 15.
Yeah.
Colorado State is getting beat. So some brackets are going to be busted after this first day.
Well,
for sure.
Mine already is, especially if Kentucky loses, which if that happens, y'all can just, you won't see me for a while. This weekend's going to be, that better not happen. But yeah, no, I mean, brackets are getting busted. I already lost a Final Four team. I already lost I think I lost a Sweet 16 team. Like this shit just never goes the way you think, and that's what makes it awesome. But I was watching. What game was it? Oregon. Who'd Oregon play?
Let me pull
Is
that
that
right. Yeah, Oregon. Let me go here.
Who did they play? I'm trying to remember. But
Yeah. Hold on,
Oregon played. Shit. But that
Oregon
one
played
had-
South Carolina.
Yeah, and what they that one I can't. Still, I don't know if Oregon ended up winning, but they were beating the shit out of them.
Well, I'm looking at
It's
the
just
box score, and Oregon
Yeah.
put up 53 points in the second half. So
Yeah, that wasn't even close. South Carolina. So all this is teaching me, and as a Kentucky fan, I hate saying it. The SEC is hot ass, apparently, like 2-packs ass or whatever. Like I mean, you're talking Mississippi State lost, South Carolina lost, Kentucky's losing. I mean, what the fuck? SEC is supposed to be one of the top conferences in basketball, but this is telling me very different. And Illinois won, and I thought the Big Ten was garbage this year, honestly.
well, if looking at it objectively, I think the SEC could possibly be completely out of this thing by the Sweet 16 if Kentucky loses, because I think
Oh, for
Kentucky's their
sure.
best chance.
Yeah,
Auburn.
I mean, Auburn's not bad. Alabama, I doubt. I think they're a fraud, honestly. I think I have them in my Sweet 16, but that's just because like they should win those games. But if I know anything about this tournament, the teams that should win don't always win. Obviously, I think Tennessee is going to lose. They might even lose first round. I think they have a good defense and a really good offense, but the way I saw Kentucky put it on them a week ago, I don't know if the SEC is going to have a single team in this Sweet 16. If Kentucky holds up, which we'll see. Kentucky's streaky, so they only put up like 30 points in the first half, and they averaged like 87 in a game. So they could get hot in the second half and win it. But it's not looking good for the rest of the tournament. They aren't going to be able to count on a second half explosion every game. So
Right.
It's gonna be a wild. I think this is one of the more wild March Madnesses that we're gonna have, just because every one seed I feel like is okay. Like like most years there's a one seed that I'm like, oh, that team is fucking dominant, and I don't feel like we have that this year. I thought Houston might be that, but then I saw Iowa State put it to them in the Big 12 championship, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, Houston's not unbeatable. UConn's not unbeatable. North Carolina's definitely not. Purdue, I saw Ohio State beat Purdue 2 days or 5 days after switching coaches. Like, there's just not a dominant team this year, so it's going to be a lot of madness.
Yeah, and I think so too. And I just pulled up Saturday. The Buckeyes take on Virginia Tech in the NIT.
Oh, well, what'd you look at that? Are they favored?
Yes. The matchup predictor has them a 65% chance to win.
Okay. Well, normally I would say that means Virginia Tech's going to win, but Jake Diebler thus far has won everything he's supposed to win and a couple that he wasn't. So I think Ohio State might make the NIT championship. And I think if that happens, you can feel pretty good about the hire.
And that would go with everything that we said. I think the toughest team left in the NIT is probably going to be Iowa, Utah, maybe.
Okay.
One of those two.
Okay. Yeah. Iowa's not an easy game for sure, but I don't know. I think Ohio State's got a good chance in that tournament. I think they would have been a first round exit in the actual tournament, though.
Well, it would have just depended upon where I think they should have been a play-in team.
Yeah, and they might have won that one, and then you'd be, yeah, who? I mean, that's all speculation. It's hard to tell, but
Yeah.
I just the way they played towards the end, they might have been able to make some noise. Who knows? But and especially they have talent. I mean, and once Diebler started playing the freshman and started rotating guys better and getting more out of them, they looked like a competent basketball team. So I can't say for sure, but I just think there should be, and obviously some of these mid majors and these lower seeds prove that it's not always as big of a gap, but there is a talent gap between the top and the rest of the field. It's just you're talking about who gets hot on one day, right? And just like this Kentucky game, a fun stat. Their guy at number 3, I forget his name, for Oakland. Entering the game, I think he had taken in his college career 334 shots, right? Total shots, 326 of them were 3-pointers.
Ooh.
So he had played, I think it's 3 years of college basketball. He had only taken 8 2-point shots in 3 years. Now, what that tells me is this dude loves to throw it up, right? I don't know what his percentage is on 3-pointers. He probably is shooting mid-30s or something like that because he's not setting records or anything like that. But if he gets hot, just like this game, he's already, I think right now he's like 6 of 10 or something like that. If he gets hot and he starts shooting, that's going to be a tough game for Kentucky because Kentucky can shoot the 3, but they don't shoot it like that guy does. And if he's making them, it's going to be tough. And so that's how you get some of these smaller teams like the, UMBC or whatever that upsets Virginia and Fairleigh Dickinson and those guys. They hit shots but that's not sustainable over all the tournament, right? So that's why they get to a Sweet 16 and then they get bounced because they got hot for a couple games.
Right now, Oakland is shooting 45% from behind the arc.
Yep. That's a tough day. If they keep shooting at that clip, it's going to be a hard day for Kentucky. Now, Kentucky has the dudes to go with that because Kentucky can hit the 3. They got Dillingham, they got Reed Shepherd, Austin Reeves, DJ Wagner. Those are 4 guards that can all shoot the 3 at a pretty high clip. And then they got 3 7-footers that are just, aliens. Like Big Z is just a weird dude. Like he's tall, but he's athletic. He's like a Chet Holmgren almost or something like that. But he can shoot the 3. He can drive. He can pass. So Kentucky has the athletes to withstand that. But having such a tough first round game is going to be draining. And this is a quick turnaround, right? You got 2 days till your next game. If you win that one, you got a little bit of a break. You can recoup. But going back to back like that, especially Kentucky will face who is it in the second round? Hold on. But it's Kentucky. Kentucky will face either Texas Tech or NC State in the second round. And neither one of those are easy outs. So
I've seen a lot of people pick NC State to go to the Sweet 16, so I guess
I wouldn't put it past them.
They went on a hell of a run at the end of the year in the conference tournament. So
yeah, they ended up facing North Carolina in the championship and lost.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, it's March Madness. It's going to be wild. There's going to be upsets. I'm just hoping as a fan that Kentucky's not one of them.
Yeah. I
totally agree. If you want to have a real conversation, Coach Calipari's job is not on the line. Okay, I understand that. But if he loses this game to Oakland, there's going to be some chatter. Because you look at his past, he won the championship in 12, but since then, it's been a lot of early exits. It's pushing and doing it at a school like Kentucky. I mean, it's pushing Chris Holtmann level early exits from the NCAA tournament. Now, He's missed tournaments a couple times, but normally they're a top 5 seed. They get in the tournament every now and then. They make a run, but Kentucky doesn't fuck with that. Like, I already know a bunch of my friends and a bunch of people down in Kentucky that love John Calipari. Like, they love the way he recruits. They love him as a coach. But you're talking about, it would be 3 years in a row, maybe even 4 or 5, that he hasn't even made the Sweet 16. And you're talking about getting upset in the first round. 2 years ago, he was a 2 seed, got upset by a 15. Last year, he made the round of 32, got upset by like a 10 or whatever. This year, it would be getting upset by a 14. Like, that's starting to compound some things that Kentucky people will not tolerate. And I don't know how you move on from John Calipari, but I know it's going to be a topic.
I will throw this out there. I was watching a show earlier today, and this same topic that you brought up came up about Cal, and they pulled up his contract. Do you know what his buyout is? Is it if they wanted to move on from him?
I don't, but I'm sure it's astronomical.
$35 million is his buyout.
That's not that bad.
But there's an out on the deal.
Okay.
So there's a clause in his contract. If they can mutually agree to split, Cal does not technically get fired. He goes into the athletic department with an annual salary of $1 million a year for life.
I mean, okay. I don't think you're going to get Cal to mutually agree to split right now, especially with the recruiting class coming in next year. I mean, they have, I think, 3 top 10 players in the country committed. I think he's uber competitive, so I doubt he would agree. But I know for a fact that the big money in Kentucky would put up $35 million in a second if they wanted to move on. Like that I thought it was going to be $100 million, to be honest with you. So $35 million, Kentucky will spit that out tomorrow if they decide that it's time. I don't think they're going to do that, and I hope to God that he doesn't lose and that doesn't ever become a conversation. But I love Calipari. I was a sophomore at Kentucky when Calipari got hired. It was the best experience ever. You're talking about John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, just everybody was on that team. They had 6 first-round picks. It was incredible. They got bounced in the Elite Eight by West Virginia. It was an awful fucking – but West Virginia shot 52% from 3 points in that game. And so if you can hit the 3 – Kentucky, at least back then, they've gotten better at 3-point shooting and free throws. That was always Cal's downfall. His team, he had teams full of freak athletes, big guys, everything. But their 3-point percentage was always bottom half of the SEC, and their free throw percentage was always terrible. This year, and in the past couple of years, they've gotten much better at that. But he's not making himself any friends right now, but with the way the team plays in the tournament. And they don't win the SEC tournament anymore either. Like he's I don't know the last. I'm trying to think. It's been at least probably 5 years since they won an SEC tournament or an SEC title. Like you're not winning. You're not bringing any hardware back. You're not hanging any more banners at Rupp, right? And that's where the conversation goes. And now, granted, Kentucky doesn't hang banners at Rupp unless it's like a Final Four. So it's hard to hang those, but you gotta put some banners up. Otherwise, you're not going to keep your job.
Oh yeah, I am currently trying to get the question that you asked up. The last time Kentucky won the SEC was in 2016.
Buddy, oh, that's tough. I mean. He's got to win this game. Otherwise, I think there's conversations.
Let me just double check my math here to make sure.
No,
but
yeah, I believe it. Now the SEC has been better over the past decade than it had been in a while. Tennessee and Alabama obviously stepped up their game, things like that. But still, you're Kentucky, man. You got to win.
Oh, yeah, and it also didn't help Kentucky's cause when, like you said, Rick Barnes got hired at Tennessee, which that was a huge level up because I still cannot believe Texas moved on from him.
Yeah, I can't either. That was wild. And then you had Bruce Pearl go to Auburn. And now Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, all those schools leveled up, and Kentucky didn't maintain its stronghold on the conference that it once had. And then next year, you're talking about adding Texas to the SEC, who's a solid program that's always competing. It's not going to get any easier for them.
Correction, it was 2018, the last time he had won the SEC. But since Cal's been there, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4. He won 5 in a row.
Yeah, I remember that. That was great. That was a great run.
But won 5 in a row in his tenure since 2012. He's only not made the SEC championship once.
And then this year, so twice now.
Or since the last time they won it, from 2018 to 2012. Cal had been there either every year, and he won it like 5 out of 6 years.
Yeah.
Now there was no SEC in 2020 because we know what happened there.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't made it back since 2018.
Yeah. So it's been 6 years since he made it back to the SEC title game. 6 years since they won it. I mean, he and in those 6 years they haven't made runs in the tournament either.
Right.
So it's starting to compound on him, and this game is not going the way I'm sure he wanted. But
right. And do you got your eye on any big matchups for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, let me see. There's good games every day, obviously, but let's see. Tomorrow we got Florida, Colorado. I think that could be a good game. I think I like Florida in it, but I think it'll be a good matchup. What else we got? FAU, Northwestern. I think FAU is a really underrated team. I like them to go. They're probably going to face UConn in the second round, so they might not go. But I can see FAU upsetting UConn. Let's see what else. So this is a big one that people are picking: St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. A lot of people like Grand Canyon in that game. Charleston versus Alabama. I have Charleston upsetting Alabama. I said I think Alabama is a fraud. I've watched them a bunch this year. I think they can get hot, but I like Charleston in that matchup. Outside of that, I mean, there's going to be upsets, but I don't have anything crazy. James Madison versus Wisconsin. That's probably my favorite matchup of tomorrow. I think James Madison is a good team. I haven't watched a lot of their games, but I've watched some clips and I've looked at the analytics and things like that. I think I have James Madison. Where do I have him? I have him going to the Sweet. No, I haven't. Never mind. They play Houston, so I have them losing in the second round. But I have James Madison over Wisconsin. I think that's probably my most anticipated game tomorrow.
My two anticipated games, and I think with the James Madison, that is going to be a styles clash with Wisconsin. Yep. My two are San Diego State, UAB. I think that's going to be a real interesting game.
Yep.
And Clemson, New Mexico. Because I could definitely see, I think those two games are flips of the coin.
Yeah. I agree. I think I have Clemson in that, but yeah, I have New Mexico. I liked New Mexico when I looked up their stats, and obviously, I don't watch every game, so I haven't watched a single game in New Mexico or Clemson, so I'm picking blind. But I did look up stats and I looked up, kind of how they each play and things like that, and I think New Mexico could get it done for sure.
And I will say I will be with you on Charleston, College of Charleston beating Alabama, because Alabama has the worst defense in the SEC.
Yep.
They cannot stop anybody.
No.
So
I think Kentucky almost hung 110 on them.
Yeah, it's I think Alabama's gonna see an early exit in the tournament, and
Yep, I agree with
I
that.
and I hate to go to the well. We've talked
Let's go,
about it
baby. Sorry.
a little bit. Hey, Kentucky's got the lead,
There we go. Austin Reeves, baby, don't fun him.
and I guess this will be the last topic.
Okay.
We got into it a little bit, but the team that I think is a dark horse that nobody is really talking about is Auburn.
Yeah. Listen, I love Bruce Pearl. I don't care what he did at Tennessee. I don't care what rules he broke. I love Bruce Pearl. That guy is a fiery coach, and he can get young men to buy into his culture. And I watched Auburn win the SEC championship or the SEC tournament, and I think Auburn's a sneaky team. Now, they could get upset at any point. I've watched them all year. Jesus, sorry. And I think they can, if they're on, I think they're one of the better teams in the tournament. But they have off nights. But I love everything about Bruce Pearl.
And that's I will have to say I totally agree with that, and I think that's all I got for tonight. And can I steal you for 5 minutes after the show?
Absolutely, buddy.
So this has been the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith talking some college hoops. We'll be back next Wednesday.
Yep.
Next Wednesday, and to unpack all of this March Madness. Everybody hit the like and subscribe, and thanks for watching tonight.
Absolutely, everybody. Thanks again. Have a good one, guys.
Yep, have a good one.